Do you know what the average player's pipe dream is? Being able to run modern AAA video games in a decent computer. Something modest that you don't need to change every now and then. Heck, it would be nice if every video game came out in decent conditions to play it without feeling like your console or PC is going to be launched to the space.
I do wonder why my PS4 sounds like it is going to...
Yep, it is time to talk about optimization in video games. Why do we receive unoptimized video games? Who is the responsible for this madness? And many more questions about this topic. So let's begin. I want to open this discussion with a classic idea: ports. Almost every time there is a port, you will notice that there are small hiccups and little differences between them. Right now, that is easy to see in pretty much every Switch game we receive. Plenty of games have several problems. Crashing, taking way too long to load, issues with textures, colors, and the list could be quite big. Now, this is nothing compared with your average experience back in the day with your PC. One of the journeys I would never forget was playing the first port for Resident Evil 4, solely using the keyboard, the multiple issues while making the controller work, and yeah, it was a test of patience. And like that, back then, almost every port was a whole mess. Something that still makes me laugh is knowing that Idea Factory ported many video games without issues, while most Japanese devs were struggling like mad. But part of this miracle was because of the simplicity in their video games, because it is not the same porting this, then porting this. And the deal is that companies pretty much hooked with graphics and huge worlds, experiences that aren't able to handle, because all of this requires a certain degree in optimization. But don't worry, devs will appear the first day, or the first week, to patch the game, and make everyone happy!
Yay!
Worst case scenario, you will have to wait another year, or maybe it's going to be taken down from the store. I don't know, these stories have happened several times that I have already lost count. But hey, at the end of the day, despite having way too many issues, companies will charge you 60, 70, or even more. They definitely care about you. Meanwhile, you will have to read a wall of text where they say, "Oh dear player, we ask for forgiveness. We know this video game isn't up to standard, and our team is working really hard to address all these issues." Insert way too many words in between. Each replay game repeats the same cycle once again. It is no coincidence I have a strong opinion regarding graphics and their realism. Topics already explained in other two videos. Because nowadays you hear everyone say this: ray tracing, lumen, nanite. Words that in paper sound like an amazing idea, but the reality is that many video games are crap without them. And the issue here is that companies are brute forcing their ways with these kinds of technologies. And yes, people can debate all they want about those beautiful reflections in walls, waters, and so on. And I know some old school players like me look at this like, meh. Once again, not for elitism or something like that, but because ray tracing is another way to reinvent the wheel. Do I need to remind you that games like Battlefield 3 looked like that? You know, this game was released like 15 years ago, right? To be fair, I don't remember companies or presentations repeating ray tracing in every sentence as nowadays. But don't worry, allow me to once again show you how companies solve all of these issues for you. This has to stop! Most AAA video games run como el orto, and gamers are getting furious. You, proactive dev A, give me a solution. Sir, why don't we take the time to polish our game and solve these problems?
What did you say, nigga?
Political dev B, give me an answer for this problem. What about using DLSS in every game? Ha! That is a brilliant idea! Come to my office later to sign your promotion. Next second, every freaking game takes somewhere around 70 to 100 gigs. But don't worry, we got you covered. All you need to get is a 1060, quite affordable. But don't worry, all you need to get is a 1590. ¡Sala merga, abuela! ¿Qué pedo esta mamada? And this is without considering that you also need to update your RAM. Okay, enough joking around. Who is to blame here? How did we reach this point? As much as it hurts to admit, it was because of us. We gave the companies out there the privilege to do these kinds of things, because we used to pressure them every single time they announced a delay. Of course, as time passed, they knew things were going out of hand, so they had to readapt to new strategies. If you ask me, I don't like what happened next, because someone who wears a suit every day and probably with a twisted disconnection from reality said, we need to deliver things just in time. Ironically, this doesn't mean they work. At the end of the day, players are the ones who are asking for this, and the customer is always right. 3 Doritos después, we are here, with companies releasing garbage, something that sounds as version 1.0, which in reality is something like 0.7, because things need to be delivered in time. Then we can ask for forgiveness, burn our team and release a patch to start fixing things. At the end of the day, they will see a little improvement, and they are going to be happy. Next week we can deliver another patch because probably we broke another thing in between, and we need the patch to patch the patches. For better or worse, optimization requires time and lots of money. Taking a modern example, Clair Obscur took a while to be polished. I mean, they could have delivered the game as many other companies, but the hype was already up, and messing things right away stains your credibility for life, unless you're an already established company. Sure, you need to worry, but you can mess up real big and then fix things in between. I wouldn't point programmers as most people do, because chances are that these choices were out of their hands. In general, there is a leader, director, manager, or something along those lines who needs to have fucking KPIs up. So we need to increase productivity. And if that means selling garbage, so be it. At the end of the day, people will get the day one editions. Of course, I am no one to tell you what you can do with your money. It is yours. Use it however you see fit. But then do not complain if what you buy is fixable garbage. Perhaps what grinds my gears is that this is not limited to the gaming industry. Many industries out there do the same thing. And of course, if you ask me how these kinds of things could be fixed, it's simple. The biggest impact comes when programmers start to work here. It is not at the mid, not at the end, but since the beginning. The deal is that programming things right requires time. But if it is done in a proper way, you can make plenty of games run in a smooth way, with little to no hiccups, crashes, and so on. These things get quite interesting when optimizations start to run at the end, because it is like changing the tires of a car while it is moving. You cannot afford to stop it, and rather than acting, companies are reacting to the moment and pressure, because it is no coincidence. Day one patches happen just like that. And sometimes, the whole code looks like spaghetti, and little changes that look right may deal fatal errors. For example, back in 2007, EVE Online released Trinity, an expansion that was supposed to look for an older version of something named boot.ini. Now, if you're not sleeping by this point and you know a thing or two about computers, you know what happened next. The route wasn't coded in the right way and Windows was like, I have to leave, chief. And as last option to solve part of this is stop buying games. But there is a culture of missing things out. It is really hard to actually stop something that has been done for far too long. Worst case scenario, companies will keep pulling the strings more and more until they reach a breaking point with customers. But maybe it is going to be kinda late for us to act. I know I am looking at the negative side of all of this, but the fact is that there are interesting cases to analyze. What was done in Resident Evil 2 for the 64 was a hellish nightmare. And another modern example is what was done in Helldivers 2, going from 100 effing gigs to 23 is rather amazing. The deal is that these kinds of things are supposed to be done by the companies that sell you the garbage, not the community. Because at the end of the day, and once again, we are the ones who gives them green light to keep on doing the same thing once again.